Woohoo, I think that'll work. Okay, here we are. So let's begin. See my wet hair? So I'm sorry if you got on and you're like, whoa, it's blurry, it's confusing. We're in such a mode. When I say we, I'm speaking on the collective. And part of the reason why I tend to talk about myself in the collective sense, we, has a lot to do with this idea of recognizing that we are in a time of evolutionary transition. However, at the same moment, I've always spoken in the collective, we, rather than I, unless I'm talking about a personal experience. And part of that is because being somebody who provides transformational experiences, when you transform yourself, you transform all the energy around you as well. That means you become a conduit, not where you mandate the change, but you actually lead the change, if that makes sense. I know somebody one time, I don't think it was a direct comment towards a newsletter I wrote, but it really bothered her that I spoke in the collective. So interestingly enough, it's always been my intuitive hit to speak in the collective. Because we share a consciousness, we share reality, we share planet Earth, we share in the sacred breath. And I think it's really important right now in the times that we're in that we remember that we're in this together. Now, here's the divine paradox, okay? Is that the only person who knows your inner world is you. Is it? So this is, once again, why I love astrology, is because you have this dynamic, right, of energy, of how you show up outwardly, what your personality is, what your soul is, what your emotional body is, what your intellect is, what you value, how you remain ambitious, what you can expand into that potentiality, what the boundaries are, what the lessons are, how you can break through the lessons, how you can tap into a more divine connection to really ignite the change in the evolutionary process. Okay, so I just went through the planets in 2 seconds. So if we want our intuition to come alive, exclamation mark, it is because we're in this time where things are very, very blurry. That's really hard to have clarity. So if you have clarity, swaha, amazing. I've been sitting on this threshold of, I went through all the processes to be a Yoga Alliance registered school. It's quite the undertaking. It's totally doable, but it's still an undertaking. I got approved, it's official, but I have to renew. And well, the teacher training never happened. The immersion happened, and to all those people, hey, good morning. All the people who participated in the immersion, it was a wonderful time and so validating for me, but then it was like, poof, it disappeared. And so I have all this to give, and I have all this to share. And what yoga gives us is our connection to our inner world. Okay, so I'm going to tie all these parts and pieces together. So, right, so here's talking about we are in a time of great change. We are collectively in a place that is not clear. We have all, and the whole entire planet has participated in the same reality on some level. There isn't anyone who is excused from the confines of COVID. Good morning, Hope, and good morning, Julie. Thank you guys for being here and telling me you're here. Sometimes people are here and they watch, but they don't engage, which I respect, okay? So in this idea of Yoga Alliance, and I have to renew, and it's expensive. It's not like crazy expensive. It's like normal professional fees, and I get it. And I believe that yoga doesn't have very many boundaries. And so the Yoga Alliance, even though it gets criticized in a lot of ways, is the one sort of institution that at least, you know, the teacher goes through. So then the student who's going to invest a lot of money and energy and time can trust that there's value, right? Ooh, I can't see you. Ooh, hi, kids. Hope you don't have a birthday hangover. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Okay, so, right? So there's like the divine paradox. So here I am, and I've been like, okay, tell me. Right? I have a very strong dialogue with my guides. Remind me what I need to know. So then now Yoga Alliance is like, okay, we have extended so that you can do online, because part of Yoga Alliance has to be in person. But the world of in-person yoga, I mean, I give a huge shout out to anybody and everybody who's showing up to yoga in person, who are the yoga teachers, to the studio owners who are strapping the tiniest little threads to keep it alive. And they really are pioneers in this time. And I just want to honor their bravery and their tenacity and their courage. And that I really hope that we can all collectively be in a place that is not oriented from our ego and our fears, right? That's what we have to let die right now. And that really can be from the energy of the soul. Right. So anyhow, now the more I get so many downloads and insights that I have to tell my guides, like, okay, dude, like, have you engaged in my reality? Like, how do I execute this? But there's a part of me that's like, well, I have all the information. I have all the content. I've written a whole freaking manual, and I have a system, and it's really powerful. And the system is the way that we can learn this deeper understanding of how to be mindful. So there's a part of me that's like, well, maybe I should just apply to do a training online that would also mandate that when we have places and time, we can be in person. And I actually have a space in Indiana that we could do it. So there's that. So that's the I, but the clarity isn't there. So what we want is the intuition to come alive. And when we get on our mats and we get in our bodies and we feel that divine spark, right? So you probably notice the fire sits with the water, and I usually like to say the sun is kind of the collective theme, but the fire is the energy of this moment. The fire is feisty, it's agitating, and there's a duality in the sky, but it's really just calling us to say, hey, look, we've got to some level, let the ego no longer declare how we're going to go. So the only way we can go there is to go and see the undercurrent of our fears, see those places that, the betrayal, the rejection, all those things that operate everybody, because nobody is excused from fear. Everybody lives with it, right? We all hold fear if we're living on this planet, because we are sensitive beings. So if we can get into the sensation of our fire and of our light, and we can move with it and keep going deeper in, not to just like stay in the deep waters, although I feel like I've spent 7 years in the deep waters, but to be in the deep waters where we can go, oh, right, that's the core fear. That's the core wound. Okay, thank you. I'm aware of you now. And now what that will do is you can forgive yourself. You can be more compassionate with yourself. You can remind yourself that even though your experience is uniquely your own, the wisdom that's going to come through, the intuition that will finally, you'll be able to hear that whisper, will allow the soul to feel more free. It'll allow you to trust in yourself more fully. And when you trust in yourself more fully, guess what comes alive? Your light, you. So water, we will be in the hips and the psoas. We will do Skandanyasana. We will also be into the core and the heart, especially, because what we want to do is the heart is the entry point to the soul. Just for clarification, we don't stop at the heart, but then because the soul is subjective on some level and as esoteric and as kind of here, but so the soul knows what you need to step forward, but the only way we can go there is if we step inward to the cave of the heart and allow ourselves to sit in the comfort of the void. Traditionally, people say in the stillness, I like to say the void, because if you know the void, it's fully alive. You just can't see that life. You can't see that energy. Okay. So we'll do hips, we'll do psoas, and we'll get into the heart and the core. So we're going to start lying down, face down, because the darkness is really strong right now. Just listening to some of the stories that my husband's been sharing, and it's just like, they're not even COVID related in his organization that he engages with a number of people. There's this deep energy. So that energy can be so piercing that it paralyzes us or scares us. We get into that flight. We fight it, we freeze around it, or we run from it. Even my own patterns have shown up, and I know that when I'm ready to run and check out, that it's that fight-flight response. So we're going to start lying down all the way on our bellies. And as you come onto your mat, you might already be there. Ooh, my daughter. And you're going to really let yourself just breathe and breathe deeply. Yeah, babe. Okay. Bear with me, everybody. You can just be on your belly lying down. Thank you, baby. So, starting on your belly, face down. You can pillow your hands or however you've already positioned yourself. But what we're here to do is help our intuition come alive, right? So I want you to know that I've themed this class, Intuition Come Alive, exclamation point. But what we're really doing is allowing our intuition to come through so that we can trust in ourselves more fully, so that we can know what's most important, what we value. We can allow the ego to, I'm not a fan of killing the ego, but the ego to be not the leader and the director, but be soul-led in our living and really awaken to that intuitive guidance that we can trust in and step forward with, even when things aren't fully crystal clear. If you haven't, breathe into your belly deeply and just stoke that deep energy of the core. So you're getting into the bowels, you're getting into the area that is physiologically a little icky and uncomfortable for people to talk about. People don't like to talk about our genitals. People don't like to talk about our bowels. People don't like to talk about the things that have been conditioned to be like, ooh, gross, but are essential. Essential, right? Like, all of us are living and breathing because the people before us had genitals. All of us are living and breathing. We're not sloths. We don't take 3 weeks to digest our food, all right? So breathe. Breathe into those depths. And I'm going to invite you just to be with that intention that you're just going to just accept that there's fear, accept that there's limitations, but that we're aligning in a way that we can actually receive the breakthrough. You're going to bend your knees and circle your ankles. Keep the knees on the floor, hips on the floor, but exhale your feet over to the left. Deep breath in. 3 breaths into the belly. Feeling the connection from your inner pelvic floor up to the upper palate of the mouth. Feeling the areas where there might be pain or uncertainty of what the body's feeling. Or maybe there's comfort. As you exhale, hug into your core. Inhale your feet through the center.
Let the feet roll over to the other side. Notice where you feel limited and where you feel expansive. 3 breaths. From the inner pelvic floor on the left side all the way to the upper palate of the mouth. And then inhale, come all the way back through the center. You're going to bring your hands in under your shoulder. Actually, go hands wide. Find your fingertips. So I want you to already acknowledge the irritation that might be coming up from the quiet stillness. Like even when I had to step away to tend to the reality of my life, what was the collective energy? I felt it. So can you acknowledge it? Can you just accept that it's there? The irritability or the frustration or the hunger to move faster and the discomfort to slow down and move inward. Bring your gaze back to the center. Left elbows lifted. Knees are heavy. Pull into the belly, okay? So I know you think we're doing Gecko Cobra, but we're not. Your knees are heavy. Your elbows are lifted. Your knees are pushing down. And as you push the knees down, the chest, the heart's heavier. So you're going to have to adjust your chin to be mindful of your neck. Draw into the belly. 3 breaths here. Now you're going to breathe more into the back of the heart. Yes, this is highly uncomfortable. Try narrating at the same time. Lift into the belly and breathe. So we're just waking the psoas up in a very, very awkward way. Igniting that core because they're tied together. And then exhale, release, stretch your legs out, shoulders drawn to the back. Inhale, lift the heart as high or as low as you need to go. Let the head move around so you can clear out that throat and exhale all the way back to the earth. Hands under the shoulders. Inhale, curl the heart again. Lift through the belly. Tuck the toes. Now pause here. Okay? This is a little awkward, just so you know. Okay, so I'm going to turn and angle myself off my mat, but towards you, okay? You're going to be here. Your hands are forward. Your thighs are moving back. You're going to stretch your left leg out to the side as if you were going to come up into Parigasana, into gate pose. And I always have to give a shout out to John Nolan. And as you're there, and I know he's one of those people who probably has gone back to the studio because he loves connection. So your thighs go back. You draw into your belly. Your heart softens. Enjoy your breath in and your breath out, stretching through your inner thigh. Holy moly, hello, wake up call. Now what we're going to do is our inner thighs are back. You're going to roll the spine up so you do come up with gate pose. Adjust that leg as need be. Right arm lifts up and stretch over. So everything we're doing right now is to get into the deep layers of our body. It's not going to be that like, ooh, yeah, man, nice. Marianne, if you're watching this is all up in what you love to do. Okay, it's not going to be that nice, lovely thing, but you are going to have this like, oh my gosh, yeah. And then inhale, come all the way back through the center. If you adjust it on your mat, realize you're going to have to shift. Bring your hands back to the ground. Widen that right foot. Sweep that left foot. So now it's in line with the vertical line. And stretch the left arm by your ear. Deep, full breath in. I'm really close to my wall today. Deep, full breath in and a deep, full breath out. You're going to lift the leg, bend the knee. Hold on to the foot. Draw the shoulders into the back. Now, kick the knee forward. Pull into the belly. You're sticking your inner thighs back. So you're really getting into that pelvic floor land. You're going to pull into the belly more. And as you pull into the belly more, shoulders draw in. And then you've pulled so deep into yourself, you come alive. And you come alive not just from my nuanced guidance, but from really the connection to the wisdom of you, directing you to you, which is one of the greatest parts of virtual yoga. My sweet husband does Peloton yoga, and he shared with me how like he gets excited about it. He loves it so much. He can do like more athletic style yoga with dudes. It's so sweet. Bring the foot to the ground, hand to the ground, and then bring both knees to the earth, okay? And as both knees come to the earth, I know, so hungry for a downward dog, right? I want you to breathe into that blurriness, that sort of like what's going on inside, and just pull into it as you round the back. And then inhale, open the heart. Okay, I have to angle myself. You can just stay on your mat. So you're gonna sweep the right leg out to the side, okay? And as the right leg goes out to the side, you're gonna keep the back toes tucked. Like, I already feel my inner thigh right now. It's really amazing. But I have this person I get massages from who does a lot of energetic alignment, and I am literally, it was a week ago, and I am still sore from it. That I'm actually going to get a massage from somebody who does more physical work to help work out some of the energetic. So you need different modalities. Right foot's out, left toes are tucked. You may just feel it here, right? Like that's why I haven't gone back yet. Draw into the core, and as you lift into the core, you're gonna move your hips back. So we're just getting those thigh bones back and set and clearing out. So when we're afraid, like let's say we're the person who runs, like, you know, we got to walk 20 miles a day, or we travel nonstop. It could be because we have a strong Sag energy in our chart, but it could also be, or Jupiter energy in our chart. It can also be just that we tense up. And so in that fear, what happens is we actually pull up. Now, if you freeze, the energy gets really soft and you pull down. So it's how you respond, how your psoas really fires off, because guess what connects to the amygdala? That's why I relate psoas with water. It connects to the emotional regulator of the body. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. All right, I'm going to end up shifting because of the way I turn. You're going to inhale, come up. How do I do this? I got to turn completely here, okay? You're going to come up. Hopefully you can just sweep your right leg back. Left hands to the ground. Right, you're going to draw into the belly, thighs go back, pull into the core, stretch the arm by your ear, shoulders draw into your back, lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Of course, you know, you guys, you can always stay in the spot where you're like, oh my gosh, I'm waking up. You really want to learn how to listen. It's your body, it's your practice. Hold on to the foot. Kick the knee forward, maybe. You may not be able to bring it very far forward. Just bring it to the front plane of the body. You're going to stick your butt out slightly, draw into that core, your shoulders widen so you hug the shoulders in, and from the depth of your being, you can actually tune in to a higher frequency of how you want to be guided. Now, we don't want to go for the performance of the pose, but we really want to go for the process of experiencing. That's why yoga wakes up our intuition. Exhale, free the foot. We forgot something. Bring the foot to the ground. Inhale, lift up. Arm goes up, stretch. Parigasana. Oh my gosh, so crazy. And then exhale, hand to the earth. Bring both knees to the ground. Knees are underneath you, hands under your shoulders. Exhale, round the back, chin to the chest. Inhale, open the heart. And by the way, I am a huge advocator of getting massages, getting body work done, like actually having somebody physically touch your body, which I know you can wear a mask. It's a little complicated right now, but it facilitates the undercurrents that you don't have access to. Because even right now, while you're doing yoga, that's why yoga feels like a massage, you are still manipulating the practice because your ego is not going to ever fully let go. And we want the ego because guess what gets us motivated to make money and pay our bills, to buy the food, to live in a house? It's our ego. Lift up and back, downward dog. Pedal the feet out, nod your head yes or no. Sway your hips from side to side. And just move it around, right? So remember, we were in that place where we weren't clear, and now we're actually cultivating that clarity. And we're waking up to holy moly, like I have shared in my own experience that there's stuff, but we all have stuff right now. I don't know anybody right now who doesn't have stuff. I mean, on some level you have stuff where it's human. We're earthlings. Everybody has stuff. Now what's hard is that some people have so much stuff, it's weighing so heavy on them, and they don't have tools, or they don't have a network of aligned individuals, right? of people who really see their light and encourage it rather than saying, hey, you know what you need to do? Exhale, bow down. Relax the neck and jaw. Fold forward. Bend the knees. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Open the heart. And exhale, fold, bow. 2 more times. I want us to get connected to the breath. Inhale, lengthen the spine. I'm sorry I missed the flow up earlier. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, bow. You're going to heel toe your feet apart. Right? So that was just to reset the spine. Take your feet as wide as you need to. Keep the heels on the floor. And as your feet move wide, you're going to bend your knees all the way into Balasana. Oh, shit. My phone's going to die. And as you're there, keep breathing. And as you're breathing, I'm just going to enjoy the fact that, oh, yes, Mercury is retrograde. And fortunately, I have the means to charge up. Just plug in. And that's all we're doing, right? We're plugging in. So you're in Balasana. You're in that squat. You're going to feel grounded, lengthen the spine, enjoy your breath. Enjoy the deep, deep renewal. I heard somebody say, her name's Molly McCord, she has this really beautiful way of presenting the soul growth through the idea of astrology. So clearly I'm absorbing her stuff regularly and processing it and contemplating with it so it can come forward in a different way. She was talking about how, so here you are, come seated. You're going to pull back into the belly. Please use your hands, adjust accordingly. What we're going to do is going to tuck the tail. Pilates calls this a little bit of an earthquake move. Tuck the tail, pull into your core, and vertebrae by vertebrae slowly come down. Now, you probably felt a moment where there was a crack in your strength, especially if you've ever had any abdominal issues. So what she was talking about, how 2020 has moved so quickly, but it's also been so slow. So there's that duality. And what's been quickly is the call for what has to change. Like everything's erupting what has to be changed. Like if you can tell me that your life is the same it was at the beginning of the year, that it is now, I'm going to call bullshit. Bring the left ankle to the thigh, bring the knee into the chest. Because yes, right, I'm going to use my sweet husband as an example. His job is the same, but I'm going to tell you the emotional weight of what he has to process and handle and organize. I mean, I feel like he's been in crisis mode since March, and it has not let up whatsoever. And it's not usually that way. Left ankle to the right thigh. You're just here. If you can, stretch. You're going to make, this is kind of complicated, another nuanced thing. You're going to thumbs up. Okay, like check. Got it. You're right. We have been asked to look at every aspect of our life, every area of our life. And that process has been intense and it's slow because we're ready for it. We're ready to get to where we know we can be. But we can't get there until we resolve a lot of this stuff. So thumbs up, got it? Arms are gonna stretch back by your ears and your thumbs are pushing to the floor. You're gonna pull into your belly and draw your shoulder blades in and then just wiggle your hips around slightly. So you're moving from your core. I know, so weird, right? Now, your right quadricep probably just woke up in a whole new level. It's being asked to work because this little move here cleared the psoas. I know, it's such a professional way. That now the right thigh is doing a lot of work. So we're going to bring the right foot to the ground. Arms stay back behind you. Core still pulls in. Draw the right waistline back and the knees are going to roll to the left. Oh yeah, you got to use your core a lot. Relax the neck and jaw. Now, this isn't a pose that's about going far into a big stretch. The idea of just being one-sided in yoga is against the natural alignment of the universe. So if we just go really intense, we're against the natural alignment of the universe. If we just go super, super soft without support, we're against the natural alignment of the universe. So right now, this is a very embodied feminine expression which isn't just all soft and stretched out. Your thumbs are pushing down, your shoulders are drawing in, your core is fired up, and what we're doing is we're actually letting the body settle in to its higher order. Sorry, I know that was a lot. Inhale, come back through the center. Fire and water for me is really my combo. I have a lot of air, but the water is strong. When the fire comes out, it's pretty brutal, I guess, but it's real. So left leg is up. You might have to have the knee bent. I want the left thigh bone right over your hip socket. And you're gonna flex that left foot as much as you can. And think of, if I was there, anybody else was there, they could, from the heel of your foot, help plug your thigh straight into the earth. Now, this is something I don't usually do, so please modify as needed, because I want you to feel how misaligned this might feel in your hip. To work your core this much, if you internally rotate, you're gonna have to internally rotate a lot. If you're more of an external rotator, know these parts about yourself, and then use that core. Ribs are down, shoulders are in the back, arms are overhead, and float the foot to the earth. Let the leg relax, let the arms relax. 3 breaths here, just moving through the left side of the body. This is my preferred way of teaching. These kind of practices, they're really hard to do alone. So maybe that's why it's taken over 6 months for me to get comfortable in teaching a practice like this virtually. And just feel what's moving through. You're not trying to process, okay? That's when we're in processing mode. A huge thank you to one of my teachers, Brenda Villa. We disconnect from the more spiritual, or actually I don't even want to say spiritual, the more soulful side of just allowing. So we just want to allow, we just want to feel. And that's how our intuition will come alive. Bend the knee, bring the foot, heel under the knee, right ankle comes to the left thigh, and you're just going to pick the foot up. Oh yeah, I told you we were in our hips. Just notice what's going on. So those of you who haven't practiced with me a lot, when I get into water energy and I have permissions to go deep and into that depth, it's a really pretty exciting time, let's just say. Okay, so I want you to feel yourself here. We've been here for a moment. Draw into the belly. You've got to lengthen out, okay, from the pelvic floor. So the inner pelvic floor. You want to draw those inner lines, okay, all the way up around the heart. Adjust the heart. Thumbs up, realizing that we're waking up a lot. And then the thumbs are still up if the hands were overhead, but now they're behind the head, so the thumbs are pointing backwards towards the earth. They're pushing into the ground. Shoulders draw in. Core draws in. You're really feeling the igniting energy. That's the fire. And then you're just going to move your legs around. So the idea is not to think about your legs moving around, but how can they move from your core and adjust, right? This is very exploratory. Man, I'm like knocking out all kinds of teachers I've had in my life in this class today. This was a big part of my initial teacher training, was to be more exploratory. Why? Because it was all about being able to express yourself authentically. So here we are, come back to the center, get the core working. It's interesting, my left quad isn't firing off like my right one was, but I don't have all the parts in my right side, and they've never been taken away. They just weren't ever there. So all the parts in my genitals, since I started off with genitals. You're gonna roll, so you gotta really push your thumbs down, draw into your belly, roll the belly over, oh my God, this side's really intense for me, over to the left, and you've got to pause. We're not trying, again, it's not about performing right now, it's the process. We're in the process of realizing where the commotion is, what are we afraid of? Now, I'll tell you right now, my experience, I get very afraid that I'll get hurt. It is just, it's the truth of my reality. I've been hurt physically a lot, especially when trying to just have fun and enjoy myself. And what I've since learned is that I'm just very, very versatile, all the way down to my cells. So I have to really have strong boundaries and container. So use the muscles, recognize what you're afraid of, and then as you trust in yourself, what you value will come forward. I value strength. I value clarity. I value integrity. So I act in those ways. Inhale, come all the way back through the center. Relax the jaw. Anytime we wake up the psoas, there's a good chance of tears coming forward, by the way, or great laughter. There's usually a release that needs to happen, and if the release doesn't happen, it usually flares up in our body. So here we are. Right leg is over top of the right hip. You're gonna flex, the knee may be bent, but you're gonna really flex your foot. Think of from the arch of the foot all the way down the core line of your leg, all the way into that pelvic floor, okay, because the psoas connects. It goes straight up through those hips, up through your core. Now the psoas stops right behind the diaphragm at T1, right behind the heart, but we want that energy to continue because there's still an electric current connection to the amygdala, so we want to feel the back of the brain being supported and stimulated. And breathing, that's why it's a little intense. And just watch, bear witness to the emotions, because the ego is going to want to pull you out or change it or adjust it. Now, you might have to shift because the wisdom of the body is saying something's not right. So being able to define that fine line between tension and stress and pain takes practice. And sometimes we don't know if it was painful until well after it's happened. Okay, so push the thumbs down, integrate the arm bones in, hug into the core, pull the tops of the rib cage that usually flares out, really hug it in, and then you're leading with your inner thigh, float it all the way to the earth. Again, internally rotate if you need to internally rotate, externally rotate if you need to externally rotate, and then let it all relax. I mean, even your arms probably just felt something there. Okay, 3 breaths here, just feeling it all, feeling it all. I can feel the delight of some of you who this is what we were doing so much of in person. Just really grateful to have a connection to this subtlety again. And then you're gonna bend the knee, draw both knees in. And then those of you who aren't used to practicing in these kind of outside of the box ways, I want you to know that a lot of this practice is informed. Here I go, I'm announcing another teacher of mine. Through years of having work done to me by an osteopath, Dr. Daniel Moore in Versailles, Kentucky, who has a non-aggressive manipulation. I first went to him when I was 13. And the last time I went to him was in 2017. And he's the only person I've ever known to release physical trauma in my body at a level that inhibits my ability to move. So you're gonna bring your hands back behind your head, shoulders to your back, head's heavy, you gotta pull into your core, knees are gonna come over your hips, shins come parallel, and then you're gonna lift your chest off. So what we did is we actually cleared out a lot of the inner thighs and the deep hips. Now we're getting, after that clearing, we're igniting, okay? So this is a very physiological way of getting in the body. This is one of the things that I would love to do that's just sound effects. Hug your outer hips towards your tail, so make sure your glutes are working. Mine tend to forget and go to sleep. And then make sure the low belly is coming in and it's not pushing away. Make sure the ribs are hugging in and the neck and jaw are free. If you've done a lot of Anusara, notice if your toes are overly charged up and relax them. One more breath in and a big breath out. Now we're gonna hold on to our knees. This is gonna jolt your system, so realize that, and you may not make it, but you're gonna hold on to your knees and come up into goat pose. Maybe try it again. Just bear with me, right? We're in this. And these are the classes I love to teach, and these are the classes that usually really piss people off because another one of my teachers, I'm just going with it today, Barbara DeAngelis, it's really about going into the depths so you can shift your soul and not just try to manage. She talks about mastering rather than just managing. So we have to go into the depths, big breath in, and it makes us uncomfortable. But that discomfort is okay, because guess what we do? We bring the light into some of the darkest areas. Exhale, feet come to the ground. Hands come back behind you. Shoulders drawn to your back. You're gonna inhale, lift your hips up. Be mindful of knees here. Walk your feet wide, and then just let your hips sway from side to side. And as your hips sway from side to side, then you're gonna walk your hands forward, climb them forward, walk the feet back in, and fold forward. Exhale, bow down. Inhale, lengthen the spine, open the heart. Exhale, fold over. We're gonna bend the knees and roll the spine up. Push to the earth, draw into the core. Really work that energy, that muscular engagement. Stay connected. Roll the spine all the way up. Arms come by, your hands come by your ears. Shoulders draw back. And it's like you're just going to push that energy up and out. Offer it up to the heavens above or down to the earth below. Big full breath in, and then arms go wide. Elbows bend. Shoulders are to the back. Relax the neck and jaw. Full breath in, and then exhale. Hands come back behind you. Clasp them. Shoulders to your back. Lift through the heart. Knees are gonna bend. We're gonna glide back. So you're gonna slide your left foot back. Pull into the center. Big full breath in. Open the heart. Lunge forward. Step it forward. Inhale, rise up. Feel that length. Free your arms. Go wide. Full breath in. And then exhale, hands come back behind you again. Switch the interlace of your hands, shoulders to your back. Lift the heart, we're gonna glide. I want you to pull into the back body, shoulders to your back. Right foot glides back. Pull in, lift the heart, lift the chest. Enjoy your breath, right? Feel that connection. And then we're gonna glide it forward. Step it forward, push into the earth, lift the heart. So we're not flared out here, we're hugging in. Arms go wide, shoulders to your back, full breath in. And then exhale, hands come to your heart center, hinge at the hips, fold all the way down to the earth. Notice what's coming alive in you. Maybe there's a bunch of spew and junk that just still needs the salve of your soul and the trust of your inner awareness to let your whole self know that you're here to take care of yourself. You're really here to honor you. Inhale, lengthen the spine, and exhale, step back. Downward facing dog. Enjoy your breath, your connection. Inhale, plank. Knees high or low. But at the time of this live recording, we're moving into a very dynamic full moon, very dynamic opposition in the sky, so realize that. So we're all going to break through somehow, so maybe your breakthrough is actually by backing off. But elbows are going to bend. Inhale, curl the heart open. I wanted to do upward dog, and my body was like, no freaking way. So you can go to upward dog or cobra, full breath in, and then exhale, pull back. Step it back, downward dog, or you can do this next move from table pose, okay? Keep everything steady and still. Inhale, the right leg lifts. Circle the ankle if you need to. Stay strong in your core. Lift it, knee comes to your heart. Circle it out to the side and all the way around. Do your best to not allow anything else to waver. So you can really be in the hip. You're going to bring the knee forward under your hip. You're going to pivot the heel. Right, we're going to come back into that side table. Some people call it side plank, modified side plank. I just call it side table. Big breath in, big breath out. Imagine there's a hand, an invisible energetic hand that you could hold on to. Okay, your palms forward, shoulders are drawing into the back, You're gonna bend the knee. Maybe stay here. See if you can just push through the ball of the foot. I know this is a lot on toes. And just pick the right knee up. And you're pulling the inner thigh up into the hip socket. This is no joke, you guys. And then stretch the foot forward so you come into this fallen star moment. And then exhale the hand down, lift it up, pull it back, downward dog. Inhale, plank. Yeah, there's a fierceness to this if you really pay attention. Exhale, pull back, downward dog. Inhale, come forward into plank. And maybe just go back, downward dog, or elbows bend. And then inhale, open up. Right? You're getting curious. You're seeing upward dog happening for me this time. I didn't go as deep, right, in the chaturanga. So you want to pay attention to those little hints, those little whispers, and honor them. Inhale, left leg lifts. You can do this from a table pose, by the way. Knee comes in, out to the side, and all the way around. So emotional transformation is my jam. It's what I'm here to do. It's the legacy I'll leave. And we find it through modalities like yoga, counseling, coaching, spiritual guidance, and my latest thing is the freedom that comes from understanding your chart. You're going to bring your left knee down and under your hip. Pivot the right foot, walk the left foot out, arm stretches by your ear. Feel the breath. Because that emotional transformation is what allows us to trust in the guidance of our soul that is also known as our intuition. Here you are. You can stay here. You can be here and bend the back knee. You got to really get that core alive. We cleared the psoas, now we're stoking the psoas. Do not push past. Do not let your ego bully the breakthrough. Let your body be the container for you to cultivate a stronger connection and trusting yourself. So maybe being here, maybe just being on your knee here was a good move. Maybe you can come here, or the foot lifts up, knee lifts up, foot stretches. You open even more fully. Something to work towards, right? And then exhale, hand to the ground. Pull it back, downward dog. Check in, just see. Check the waters. Is it too hot? Is it too cold? Plank pose. Exhale, pull it back, downward dog. Inhale, plank, right? Try it out. This is why I do slow chaturangas. Fire season is just around the corner, everybody. So this is why we do, yes, that was a hint that we'll be doing chaturangas. So little chaturanga, don't go very deep. My arms are shaking, but that's where I can have access to lifting my heart up. And this is just a structural thing. Lift up, move back, downward dog. Big deep breath in, deep breath out. Inhale, right leg's gonna lift from a table pose or downward dog. Pull into that midline, step the foot through. What we're going to do is pivot to the left foot, Skandinavasana. Thighs, your legs have to be super strong. Your core has to be super stoked. Inseams of the legs move back, hands move forward, stretch it back. Now, if you're feeling steady, I am on this side, I gotta really tune in because I know I won't be on the other side. If you feel really steady, try bringing one hand to the heart or maybe both hands to the heart. Shoulders are to the back. And if you're still steady, you're going to take the arms wide. Elbows bend, thighs are back, into the core, big deep breath in. Meet yourself where you are. These are kramas. These are different stages of the practice. Hands to the earth, lunge. And it's not about, is one more advanced than the other? Spin up through the back leg. Lunge, twist, pull into the center, shoulders to your back. Open the heart, open the throat. Deep breath in. Exhale the hand to the ground. Lift through the core. downward dog. Because by the way, sitting in the void is usually more of an advanced practice. Check in, inhale, plank. Yes or no? Exhale, be fluid, downward dog. If it's a yes, inhale, plank. Exhale, elbows bend, open the heart. As you open, again, you guys can be doing cobra pose. I knew that something inside of me wanted upward dog, but I had to listen to the body and modify the practice so that bigger burst of connection could come through. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Left leg's gonna lift. Lifting through the leg. And exhale, step it through. Or find it. Heel under your knees somehow. Right? You're gonna pivot to the long edge of the mat. Turn your right foot out. Okay? Push into the earth. Lots of strength. So if you hyperextend, you might just practice being here, giving a little bend in the knees. So there's like just a little prop behind the knees so the knee's not bowing back. Inseams of the legs are working, core's working. Arms can stretch forward. Maybe one hand comes to the heart, maybe both hands. And then you check in. And I'm surprised. I have the connection on this side. The elbows bend, the shoulders reach to the back, the heart stretches forward. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. And then exhale, hands to the earth. Spin around to the front. So as the back heel lifts, from that foot, lift through the inner thigh. Spin it all the way up, all the way into the back. Lean into the right hand, twist to the left. Breathing in and breathing out. Exhale the hands to the earth. Move back, downward dog. Inhale, plank. Exhale, back, downward dog. We're gonna inhale, plank, exhale, chaturanga to cobra pose or upward dog. That's why we pause in chaturanga too. Yes, all that's gonna be coming forward. In fire season, now, we're gonna bend the elbow, we're gonna come all the way to the earth. All the way down. If you got ahead of me and you went to downward dog, oh guys, we're in trouble. I have no idea what time it is. Come all the way to the ground. Let the heart pulse. Breathe all the way back into your belly. Breathe so deeply that you can feel the connection to your innermost self so that you can settle your system from the inside out. You're going to, if you want to use a block, I just pulled one out of my secret hiding place. I'm just gonna roll with what my intuition says, even though I know I'm pushing on the boundary of time. If you want to block, grab a block or something. You're gonna come lying down. We're gonna do plow pose again, but I'm gonna show you how we're gonna do plow pose to shoulder stand. So just to help understand a little bit of where I'm coming from, the water emoji is Scorpio energy. That ability for the intensity to go inward and really ignite what's in the undercurrent, what sits in the unconscious, what sits in the darkness that needs to be illuminated and brought to the surface so it can be revealed, transformed, and then offer clarity and power. Scorpio isn't just powerful by being powered. The power comes from going inward. And then the fire is Aries. Okay, the fire and the system that I've cultivated is really about the region of the heart and the diaphragm and the upper core. But it's also that fire is coming from Aries energy, which rules the head. So we'll go shoulder stand to plow pose, or I'm going to show you the modification of just doing supported shoulder stand. You can also go to the wall, okay? So here we are. You're going to push your feet, inhale your hips up, and bring the block under your hips. Now, maybe you just want to do a bridge pose. Okay, but just know we're going to move into shoulder stand to plow pose. Breathing here, throat's open, finding that energy. A bolster works too, by the way. You could fold up blankets and stack them. You can be creative. Now, if you're going to go to shoulder stand, you can come out of bridge pose and then slowly rock up to shoulder stand. Otherwise, hips stay grounded, shoulders are drawing in, core is drawing in. You're going to walk your left foot to the midline, pick the right knee up, and get the right thigh bone heavy. Make sure the left hip stays heavy too. Core's working. You're moving from the core, not from the periphery. You're moving from your depth. And then there you are. One leg goes up. You draw the shoulders back, left knee lifts up. Moving slowly is the precision of understanding your own strength and when you are in or out of alignment. That's why they say go slow to go fast. Hello, that's what 2020 has been all about. Because we will get momentum soon. Okay, so if you're in shoulder stand, you're going to slowly go back to plow pose. Now, you can't go to plow pose if you're in a supported shoulder stand, but what we're going to do is we're actually going to bend. You got to use this left leg to counter and stay plugged in, and use that left waistline, and use that left arm, and use the back side of the left side of the head, that skull, right? Not the neck, the skull. You're counteracting the move here. The heel's kicking down, you're plugging in, you're open, and you're actually just going to pull the right knee in and stretch it back. You cannot drop in the chest here. And just stretch it back. It's going to wake up the hamstring a lot, which in plow pose, we get that big opening. It's just in full plow, you get the back stretch too. I know, so interesting, right? And then you're going to bend that knee if you're in plow pose, and then bring the legs back together, bend the knees, adjust. If you're in plow pose, just breathe with me. Breathe into your body, or even tune me out. So right leg will kick forward. You're kicking the heel forward, quad, thighs plugging in. You cannot be here. This is misaligned. This is you just getting caught up. So you may not get it perfectly the first time. It might be highly unclear. So you just listen to the guidance and then you act accordingly for yourself. Left knee is going to bend. This is just in of itself really powerful. And then if you can, left leg extends. I've been honoring an injury I cultivated early COVID, carrying my sleeping daughter around the grocery. God, it was such a silly move, but I was acting from fear, okay? And I got hurt, so I'm still aware of that. This leg cannot go any further. But my ego wants to go further, but no way. And then you counter. Knee bends, both legs go up. If you are in plow pose, bring both feet up into shoulder stand. We took the right leg up first. If you're in supported bridge pose, bend the right knee, pull into the core. I want you to move really slow. Keep the heart open. You know your foot's going to land, okay? You know your foot's going to land. I want you to keep the awareness into the center of your head and your heart, head anchored, heart lifted, okay? And you're going to just move super slow until that right foot lands. And notice that gentle descent. And then we'll bend the left knee and slowly float the left foot all the way to the earth. If you're in shoulder stand, bend your knees vertebrae by vertebrae. If you're on the block, lift up, move the block. Arms go by your ears, lift the heels, tail curls up, vertebrae by vertebrae. Once we come all the way down, you can bring your knees into your chest. You can do reclined child's pose. You can do happy baby pose, or what I call reclined butterfly pose. And then come back to the center. feet wide, knees together, or knees together, feet wide. I'll tell you, if you're more naturally an internally rotator, this will probably be more preferred. If you're a more natural external rotator, this will probably be more preferred. You're gonna let your hands rest on your belly. 5 breaths into the core. Our psoas holds a lot of wisdom. It can tell us what needs to be released, and you maybe not even be able to put your finger on what it is exactly. You just know that something needs to, and so you trust in that guidance. And so a simple thing that you can always say is just tell me more, right? The dialogue you would have outwardly with somebody you're holding space for, you're having inwardly with yourself. And coming all the way down to the ground. And by the way, holding space is not giving advice. It's just really listening so you can practice with yourself. Come lying all the way down for Shavasana. That energy of death to what was, to the practice, to the journey. So that we can be in the cycle of renewal and rebirth. But breathe into the void and let every breath bring forward the light, the sustenance, the prana, the vitality. And each time you exhale, the invitation is whatever needs to be released is free to let go. Just as you are. Breathe all the way in and all the way out. Knowing that you're becoming more of who you are. Just as you are. Honoring the truth of who you are, regardless if it's clear or not. Breathing in and breathing out. And just as you are, allowing for the breath to help the intuition to come alive. And choosing that innermost guidance of the highest to awaken you, circling your ankles, wiggling your fingers, swaying your head from side to side. Oh, stretch the arms back behind you. We'll roll to one side, and we are going to pause today just to honor, to really see the sacred moment. Now, if it creates instability in your infrastructure, come seated. Notice how much effort it takes to come back up seated. And as you find that seated view, sit well with yourself. Sit with that potency of the revelatory power of going into the deeper infrastructure, physiologically, emotionally, mentally, soulfully. Hands come to your heart. And it's not about knowing precisely, but rather feeling of tuning in and knowing that connection. And as we connect, that we can continue to awaken to our truth, that we can break through and transform and bring forward that wisdom, because we really allow ourselves to become vulnerable. We allow ourselves to know that there's fear, that there's a pattern of betrayal or rejection or abandonment that's in each of us. And so we just respect that by taking the time for our own individual self. We're supporting the collective in some way, in some form, and to that we will all rise together. And so we can be a disciplinary, a disciple of the light, so that in the moments it appears incredibly dark, we've cultivated practices so we can actually selectively and consciously and mindfully choose those cognitive biases that are supportive, accepting, and uplifting, without feeling the burden of making it happen now. So my prayer for all of us is that we can continue to be patient and we continue to trust in our own light and be guided by our own truth of our soul and the evolution that we're all participating in and alive for right here, right now. And so we welcome this new moment and this next breath, acknowledging the light in ourselves and in one another. And so it is. Namaste. Thank you, guys. Thank you for hanging out with me and bearing with all the technical details of this practice. And I just hope you know the technique of you is so powerful. We all hold these gifts. We just have to really pull back the curtain and allow the light in and know that those dark parts of our unconscious this is what we get to do in life. We get to wake them up.